The photograph was faded, edges softened by time. A young man and woman smiled out, their eyes bright with the invincible joy of first love. He remembered her laughter, the way her hand fit perfectly in his. They were young, full of dreams, their future a shared canvas waiting to be painted with the vibrant colors of their love. But life, as it often does, had other plans. She was gone now, taken too soon by a cruel twist of fate. He traced her face in the picture, the ache in his heart a constant reminder of all they had lost. He kept her memory alive in the quiet corners of his heart, in the scent of her favorite perfume that lingered in his dreams. He revisited their shared spaces, seeking solace in the echoes of their past. Every sunrise felt incomplete, every sunset a painful reminder of her absence. How could he move on when a part of him was forever frozen in that moment, trapped in the amber of their shared past? He had loved her with an intensity that consumed him, a love that transcended the boundaries of time and circumstance. Hers was the face he saw in every crowd, her voice the whisper he longed to hear in the stillness of the night. The world moved on, but he remained tethered to the past, his heart a prisoner of its own grief. They had made promises, whispered vows of forever under the starlit sky. He carried the weight of those promises, the echo of her voice, a sacred burden on his soul. Moving on felt like a betrayal, a violation of the love they had shared. He held on to her memory, a shield against the onslaught of pain and the fear of forgetting. He could almost hear her laughter, feel the warmth of her hand in his. Those memories, though bittersweet, were all he had left. He clung to them fiercely, finding solace in their familiar embrace. He knew he couldn't live in the past forever, yet the thought of letting go, of opening his heart to another, filled him with a deep sense of unease. He questioned his own motives, wondering if his reluctance to move on stemmed from loyalty or fear. Was he holding on to the past out of love for her, or was it the fear of facing the future alone that kept him tethered to her memory? The line between love and grief blurred, leaving him lost in a labyrinth of his own making. Life whispered of second chances, of new beginnings, but his heart remained stubbornly rooted in the past. He knew he couldn't remain frozen in time, yet the thought of moving on felt like a betrayal of the love he had known. How could he reconcile the past with the present, navigate the treacherous terrain of grief and hope? He found himself drawn to places they had shared, seeking solace in their familiar embrace. He would sit for hours in their favorite cafe, the scent of coffee and cinnamon a poignant reminder of their stolen moments. He longed for her presence, her touch, the sound of her voice. He was caught between the comfort of his memories and the daunting prospect of a future without her. The world urged him to move on, to embrace the possibility of new love. But how could he explain that a part of him had ceased to exist the moment she took her last breath? He carried her memory with him, a bittersweet burden that both comforted and haunted him. He yearned for peace, for a way to honor her memory without letting it consume him entirely. Section 4. Honoring the echoes of the heart. He realized that moving on didn't mean forgetting. Honoring her memory meant embracing life, embracing the joy and pain it held. He could keep her spirit alive by living a life filled with purpose and meaning, a life that reflected the love they shared. He started small, taking tentative steps outside the confines of his grief. He reconnected with old friends, rekindled forgotten passions. He found solace in acts of kindness, in sharing his story with others who understood the language of loss. He learned to embrace the present moment, to find beauty in the ordinary, to appreciate the precious gift of life. He realized that healing wasn't about erasing the past, but about learning to live with the echoes of the heart. He could honor her memory by embracing the world with open arms, by allowing himself to experience joy, love, and even pain again. He began to understand that moving on wasn't a betrayal, but a tribute to the love they shared. Section 5. The long road to healing. Healing, he discovered, was not a destination, but a journey, a winding path fraught with unexpected detours. There were days when grief threatened to pull him under, when the weight of his loss felt unbearable. But he learned to be patient with himself, to allow himself to feel the full spectrum of his emotions without judgment. He sought solace in nature, finding comfort in the rhythm of the waves, the whisper of the wind, the quiet wisdom of ancient trees. He surrounded himself with people who loved him, who understood the language of his heart. He learned the importance of self-care, of nurturing his mind, body, and soul. He rediscovered forgotten passions, finding joy in unexpected places. Slowly, tentatively, he began to heal. He realized that healing wasn't a linear process. There would be good days and bad days, moments of joy interspersed with waves of grief. He learned to ride the waves of his emotions, knowing that even in the darkest of times, the sun would eventually rise again. Section 6. A tapestry woven with time. He knew he would never forget her, that her memory would forever hold a sacred place in his heart. But he also knew that life was meant to be lived, that love, in its many forms, was a gift to be cherished. He began to open his heart to the possibility of new connections, of allowing himself to love and be loved again. He carried the lessons he had learned with him, the wisdom born of loss and the resilience of the human spirit. He had loved deeply and lost profoundly, but through it all, he had discovered an inner strength he never knew he possessed. He had emerged from the crucible of grief, his heart scarred but not broken. Life, he realized, was a tapestry woven with threads of joy and sorrow, love and loss. He had learned to embrace the full spectrum of human experience, to find beauty in the brokenness, to appreciate the fragile, fleeting nature of life. He walked forward with a heart full of gratitude, carrying the memory of his lost love as a beacon of hope and a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. Out.